So I recently have sent out a couple of newsletters about messages being released from the various meetings of the G7. And I thought it would be fun today to talk about why that's such a big deal. So let's talk about who the G7 are. They are the seven most advanced economies in the world: Canada, France, Germany, Italy, the United States, the UK, and Japan. And they have a regular cycle where at the ministerial level, like the finance ministers have a meeting, and then the health ministers have a meeting. And then following the annual meeting at the minister level, the heads of state get together. And so earlier back in May, we had messages out of the meetings of the finance ministers and the health ministers. And then more recently in June, the heads of state got together. And what's been interesting to watch is how the messages about AMR have flowed through. Health ministers first, the finance ministers picked up on it because they recognize the importance of good antibiotics to keeping people healthy so they can go out and do healthy person things in the economy. And then the heads of state got together. And the heads of state communication that came out after their meeting on June 26, 28 of this year is really interesting. Let me read something from it. Acknowledging the rapid rise in antimicrobial resistance at the global scale, we reiterate that we will spare no efforts to continue addressing this silent pandemic. We will continue to promote the prudent and responsible use of antibiotics in human and veterinary medicine, raise awareness on sepsis, lead in the development of integrated surveillance systems based on a One Health approach. And One Health is a term that's used when we talk about human and animal, all agricultural surveillance. Concurrently advance access to antimicrobials, strengthen research and innovation for new antibiotics and international partnerships, and, this is the big one, incentivize the development of new antimicrobial treatments with a particular emphasis on pull incentives. Read that again. Incentivize new antibiotics with a particular emphasis on pull incentives. There are some links below to some videos about pull incentives if that's a new idea for you. But basically, we need to buy them in advance and have them in the pharmacy so that when something bad happens, you've got the tool you need to hand immediately. Antibiotics, as we like to say, antibiotics are the really tiny fire extinguishers of medicine. And fires and infections are alike in that they go really quickly. And when a fire breaks out when you're making lunch, you need to use your fire extinguisher right then to put it out so your house doesn't burn down. But hopefully your lunch doesn't catch fire and you don't actually use the fire extinguisher, except that you really still do want to have it under the sink just in case. Same thing is true of things like life insurance. Those are both tools that you want to have, and not using them, like my life insurance, it didn't pay off today, and I'm really quite happy about that. Antibiotics have the same quality. You having them available is really important. On the occasion that you get an infection, you need it right then. You can't wait for it. You need it right now. But the key point here is that our political leadership, this idea has floated all the way up to the head of state level. There are lots of things that compete for time in these conversations at the G7 level every year. To have AMR on that agenda is a big deal, and to have our senior political leaders understanding that antibiotics are different. As we say, antibiotics are the fire extinguishers of medicine. Obviously not this little bitty tiny fire extinguisher, but a big fire extinguisher. When you have a real fire, you actually need a real fire extinguisher. When you have a real infection, you need a real antibiotic, and you need it right now. It's delightful to see everybody working on this. Now we need to make it happen. But the first step is getting everybody aware of it and being on the agenda. And that's the fantastic thing about this whole set of G7 communications. Our political leadership understands the importance of the fire extinguishers of medicine.